All right, so if you've been around looms for any length of time and you've heard about rattles, they are generally used in what's called back to front warping. I'm actually going to use it in front to back just because this is a rep weave with a lot of ends packed into a very narrow space. And so the rattle will help me keep everything concentrated in the middle of the loom. So since I'm going to warp front to back, I'm going to start by threading the reed. And this is where my cross becomes so important. So right now I am setting the cross in my cross holder. And I'm going to grab this camera for a sec and try to show you what's happening here. So the cross is sitting in the middle. The two long ends of this warp chain go through this narrow little opening, and then the rest of everything sits here. When I take off this ponytail holder, you will see the cross revealed in all its glory. And if you're wondering why it's upside down, it's because I put the ponytail holder on the cross backwards. This pattern I'm doing has a very specific color order. And before I did anything else, I had to go through my warp chains, which I made some time ago and have been sitting and waiting, and make sure that I had them in the proper order to do the color pattern that I want. Alrighty, so now we can see the cross in all its glory, and you can see that there's a dark blue warp end. I think this is the Pacific color. Then I've got the light turquoise, and then they stack up like Lincoln logs. And so this will let me put them into the reed in the correct order. All right, trying to put the camera back down again. Sorry if my hands got in the way there. All right, but before I start anything else, I want to center my weaving on the loom, and that means centering it in the reed. So I'm going to grab some scrap yarn, which you'd think I'd have a ton of, but I don't seem to today. And if you can see on my beater, I've got a ruler, an adhesive backed ruler in place, and I've got the center of the reed marked with a little scrap of yarn. So I just measure, since my project is going to be 16 inches wide, I'm going to measure 8 inches over from the center, and I'm just going to tie a piece of yarn on here so that I know where to start threading. You'll also notice I've got not one, but 2 of these handy dandy lamps stuck into the top of my loom because light is absolutely crucial for an effective warping process. Especially as we age, it can get really hard to tell what's going on as you're trying to get pieces of yarn through the reed. So the thing I just did with my scissors was I cut off the end of my warp chain so that each end is free now. And I'm going to carefully remove each of my ponytail holders. And if I need to get up in the middle of this process for any reason, I could just put this handy little thingy on top. I can even strap it down so that the cross stays intact. Cannot stress enough how important it is that I not lose the cross. And from this point, I mentioned before, I'm going to put 4 threads in each of these dents because it's an 8 dent reed and I want it to have a 32 end per inch. So I start from the top of the cross and I grab 2 of the dark blue and I grab 2 of the light turquoise and I just take them off the cross holder, and then I find the first dent that I marked. Let's try that again. It's easier if I can do all 4 in one go, but these are fat yarns, so that might not work. Alrighty, I have just threaded my first dent in the reed, and I'm going to keep doing that across until I've used up this warp chain and then the other 2 warp chains, and that is called slaying or threading the reed.